So how are Madonna's two new releases selling? Well, the Erotica album is flying out record store doors in New York and Los Angeles, but not doing all that tremendously well elsewhere in the country. One Tower record store in New York expects to sell 2,000 CDs this first week of the album's release, and a local HMV store says sales have been, quote, unbelievable, one of the biggest first-day releases ever. In Chicago, however, Rose's Records has sold only 36 copies of Erotica by Thursday afternoon, and the 300-store Turtles chain sold only about 11 copies per store in the first 36 hours of the album's release. Madonna's sex book, on the other hand, is turning into a publishing phenomenon. The Walton Books chain sold 22,000 copies nationwide on Wednesday alone, and according to the publishers, all 4,000 of the stores across the country that receive stocks of the book will probably be sold out by this weekend. For those a bit leery of shelling out $50 for a book whose rip-proof Mylar wrapping prevents pre-purchase browsing, the HMV store in New York City offered sneak peeks for a price in a special confessional booth on Wednesday night, along with Madonna lookalike and karaoke contests. Take a look.
Well, what's happening here is that HMV has graciously invited Lifebeat to participate in the unveiling of Madonna's new book. And for a contribution to Lifebeat, the music industry organization to fight AIDS, people can take a sneak preview at Madonna's erotic book. I can only describe it as something that sort of appears to look maybe like it's sort of a confessional, because I know we're not really supposed to say that it's a confessional. So it's a booth, and you walk into this booth and the book is there.
I'll be your sorceress, your heart's magician. I'm not a witch, I'm a love technician.
We're asking for $1 for each minute of viewing, and people want to get more, they can look longer.
After getting a sneak peek at the book without having to drop $49.95, people felt like they could make an informed purchase.
It's pretty thin for $50. It's a bargain on $50.
If you spend $50, you're not really getting what you think you're getting.
Those pictures are very, very, very sick.
Well, I think it's a little shocking.
The photography is amazing. I mean, Stephen Meisel is fabulous.
Some of them were pornography, real dirty pornography.
I thought they were very sensual and it was very tastefully done.
She loves to push buttons, she loves to push limits. So that's what I think she's doing.
Madonna herself, or at least a painting of her, will be turning up in a new series of AIDS trading cards coming out in February, along with the likenesses of such other AIDS-related figures as Elizabeth Taylor, Magic Johnson, George Bush, and the late Ryan White. We're going to take a quick breather from this Madonna onslaught right now, but we'll be back with real live dominatrixes on her sex book and news on her next movie, so don't go away.
Of course, I was very nervous to be working with Madonna, but then, she made me feel at ease. But I felt like my character in the pictures was, I don't know, maybe I was like Madonna's baby or something. Or just a friend, just playing around on the beach having fun.
And I think it's an important thing to say in an age where, everyone's telling you what you're supposed to think and what you're supposed to do.
Welcome back to the Day in Madonna. As we noted earlier, critics are almost universally complaining that Madonna's new sex book is a bomb, not because it's too dirty, but because it's so strangely dull and unerotic. But what do critics know? We took the book out into the streets of Manhattan among real people and to a sex therapist and some genuine S&M dominatrixes to see what they had to say about it.
Sex and aggression and orality and oral dependent needs are primary motivating forces, instincts, if you will, and drives that have been discussed in my profession for nigh on now about a century, and there's nothing really new in this book. She indicates that these are fantasies, that these aren't real, and that she views a condom, I think, is quite appropriate. Now, does everybody have these fantasies? Certainly not. Are there segments of the population that have it more than others? Most definitely so. It's done very graphically and in her own way with Madonna's particular grace and her beauty, but I think there's nothing really so terribly new here that should be so terribly shocking to people.
Instead of us being influenced by her and this business being influenced by her, I think she was influenced by it.
We are from Paradise Lost and Arena.
And we deal strictly with fantasy and fetish. We are dominatrixes, no sex.
And it's all very safe.
And it's all consensual. We have some body piercings, also very common. Lots of nice shiny latex. She's got a lot of the right ideas.
Yeah.
She could use a little training.
The androgyny, the cross-dressing, those are all very common things right now, and very, actually, I guess you could say they're pretty trendy since, I don't know, David Bowie.
People all over the country in the most conservative areas are still very much into the scene. They come here to let it all hang out, so to speak, instead of hiding in their basement.
Oh, wow. Hello.
Not for the meek of spirit there.
It's pornographic. It really is, and that's tasteless, and our culture should stop promoting it.
I like the cover. Some of the photography is really interesting, provocative, but it seems like she's being provocative for the sake of provoking people.
I'm not a witch, I'm a love technician. Like that?
She's a commercial goddess. I mean, she completely has mastered the entire market. I mean, she knows what sells, and even in these times, sex does sell.
Middle America isn't going to like it. Neither is George Bush.
Are you interested in seeing Madonna's new book?
No.
As a sex therapist, I certainly could see having such a book in my library.
Well, I think it's time that, we stop punishing women for their sexuality, and for her to just expose it, and to treat it as part of life and as something natural. I think it's a good step.
I don't know. It's nothing I couldn't find, at your local erotic bookshop. Just because it's Madonna, that's really the attraction for a lot of people.
I wouldn't buy it, but you'll buy it. So
I'll buy it.
I'll buy the album.
No. No, thank you. Because it doesn't interest me. It's nothing that I'm interested in. Although, thank you for showing it to me.
Some consumers are already complaining that the Madonna sex book, with its ungainly aluminum cover and spiral binding, tends to fall apart, which is exactly what happened to the copy we used for that report you just saw. Warner Books, the publisher, says the book was extremely complicated to produce. The complaints are inevitable, but that so far there haven't been all that many. The company had no comment about the possibility of exchanging defective copies of the book, but some bookstores, such as Barnes & Noble, say they'll honor exchange requests, but haven't yet received any. Finally, even more Madonna hoo-ha is due to ensue in January with the release of a new Madonna movie called Body of Evidence. The film is steamy enough to have already been hit with an NC-17 rating, reserved for non-pornographic, but definitely adults-only movies. Madonna plays a woman accused of murder when a man dies of a heart attack after having sex with her, following which she falls in love with her lawyer, played by Willem Dafoe. And Madonna will be starting another movie in the new year, the first production by her new multimedia company Maverick, called Snake Eyes. It'll co-star Harvey Keitel in a story that's described as a combination of The Player and scenes from a marriage in which the principals, quote, get dragged into the gutter. That about does it for this day in Madonna. We'll be back on Friday night at 8 p.m. East and West with The Weekend Rock, and we hope you'll join us then.